Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Monopsony and the Unskilled Worker Part 2 Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID 0F48D293 2024 45:14 am. Last night I discussed with a financial journalist who was looking to gather more insight for an article that they are currently researching. The discussion was revolving around an article I published several weeks ago titled A Monopsony and the Unskilled Worker. While we were talking, an interesting question was raised: how might the problem be fixed first? A basic understanding of a monopsony is needed. I will try to keep it as simple as possible in my descriptions. A monopoly is the opposite of a monopsony in its crudest format. Both types of entities have the capability of distorting competition. The monopoly has a single seller, while the monopsony a single buyer. In both, the ability to control goods and services through supply or demand of a product creates a circumstance where the monopsony or the monopoly can influence prices. Making the link from the dictionary to the real world is a simple step. Often the best live example comes from small rural towns where you may have a sole lumber yard or coal mine employing the majority of the town's labor force. This is a monopsony. In a different form, the employer has the means to control wages, often resulting in employees suffering from below livable wages. Without the competition, there is no incentive for wage growth. While the previous scenario above probably still exists somewhere today in some remote areas, it can also be seen in an urban environment, and it has quickly crept into the corporate world. As an example, firms can create monopsony through agreement, whereby two firms in competition may agree to not hire employees from one another. Even if the goal of these competing firms is to protect intellectual property, the fallout is depressed wages. At the crux of the discussion, it comes down to a cultural shift in bargaining power, creating an uneven balance between employer and employee. A quick look at wage growth globally will not give much hope, with many Western countries that host mega-sized corporations seeing below average growth and, in some instances, what looks stagnated, or worse, negative. The world we are in today with stimulus has helped bolster the footing of many giant-sized firms, further securing their hold. Even Congress has concerns on the anti-competition practices that warranted hearings with the biggest of the big: Facebook, Apple, Google, and Amazon in July. So, what are the solutions? During my discussion, I suggested one way may be to recalibrate how we deliver monetary policy stimulus, and that the approach should match the economic environment of the moment. The global financial crisis was a top-down liquidity problem, the pandemic in 2020 is a bottom-up, but most allocated stimulus measures have started in the same place as the GFC. This morning, after having a little more time to consider my answer, I feel there is more than one solution. Perhaps reform for anti-competition laws for firms to operate under, or even policies that mandate acceptable minimums for wage growth should there be concerns about intellectual property. Australian Wage Price Index 1998-2020. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors.